Hey everyone, it's me, Raheel. The weather is so nice outside that it is the perfect time to take a road trip from Houston. So I'm calling in Chet Garner, the host of the Daytripper on PBS. He's traveled over 200,000 miles of Texas highways and roads to film his show, so he is the perfect person to give us the best spring road trip from Houston. Load up your car, pack up some snacks, because we're hitting the road. It's Tuesday, April 5th. I'm Raheel Ramsanali, and here's what Houston is talking about today. Chet, welcome in to CityCast Houston. Man, I'm so excited to have you on. You know I'm your biggest fan, so it's only right that I bring you on to the show and let everyone else meet you as well. But everyone knows you. You're Chet Garner. You're the Daytripper, man. Welcome in.
No. You're our whole marketing department in Houston, Raheel. So thanks for having me on, brother.
Of course, man. Chet, how's life, man? How's everything going?
Things have been good, man. You know, trying to keep this business on the rails, raise 5 kids, keep the day trips flowing. It just never stops, brother. But like, it's good. It's a certain brand of chaos. I signed myself up for it, and it takes a little bit of experience living on the fringes like this. But we've been doing this for 13 years, so we've gotten a little better at it. We're about to go back on the road day tripping, which I'm super excited about. We haven't had new shows in about a year, a little less. And so I think people are getting a little antsy. They're like, Chet, did you hang up your boots? The answer is no. We'll be back on the road very soon.
Yeah, there's only so many reruns I can watch, Chet. So if you're not doing it for the Daytripper brand, do it for me, all right? And look, I love watching you. I record every episode automatically, and I still watch them, but it's time for some new content. Before we get to season 14, let's rewind a little bit. How did you get started with the Daytripper, and what made you want to jump into this field?
So I majored in film as an undergrad and just fell in love with storytelling. And, so I always knew I wanted to make movies. Now, I took this weird detour after film school. I went to law school, which is not the normal path, right? But found myself as an attorney, just not doing what I was passionate about. And I'm sitting here just wasting away, billing hours as an attorney. And I thought, man, I'm in my late 20s. If not now, when? And I love Texas. I'm born and raised Texan, and knew that there was this lack of content out there that inspired people to just jump in their car and go see the stuff in their backyard. Like we at that point, this is late 2000s, watching Travel Channel and all these other things that were showing us what to do in Rome and Chicago and all these international destinations. I'm like, that's irrelevant for me. I want to know what to do, like in Texas, in my own backyard, stuff that I can actually do without a plane ticket. And, I knew that Texas was just this breadth of experiences, wealth of experiences. And I was like, man, if no one else is going to make a show about barbecue and swimming holes, I guess I have to. So I stopped being an attorney, started this show. I didn't know if anybody would watch it, called the Daytripper. It was called the Austin Daytripper at that point, actually. And it was everywhere you could get within 2 hours of Austin. And, I threw a couple buddies, my wife in the back of a car, and we're like, look, we're just going to bring some cameras. I have no idea if there's a show out there, but let's try. And, at a minimum, my mom will watch it because she feels guilty. I didn't know if anyone else would on earth. And then like season 1, people start going, hey, this is kind of stupid and funny and also kind of useful. And then like that begat season 2, 3, and like, if you told me I'd be doing this 14 seasons in, I would have said no chance. Not because I don't love it, but just like there's TV shows don't last that long, But we hit a vein. I think it's really like more than just television show for people. It's just like an actual tool that people can use to plan their adventures. And I like from the beginning, I said, I want to make a television show that inspires people to watch less television. That was my goal. And it's worked.
Yeah, it really has. And I've told you this before, but when I first came across the Daytripper in 2012, it was my wife and I had just gotten married. We moved into our apartment. We had no cable, so we're watching PBS. And I'd be watching PBS anyways, to be honest with you. And I came across your show, and I'm like, this guy's my friend. I didn't know you at the time, Chet, but I just said, this guy is my friend, and I love this show. This is so much fun. And it did what you set out to accomplish was, hey, let's get people doing more day trips, because then we started day tripping to some of the spots that you mentioned and it worked out. The one thing that you didn't mention is that when you first started this, you had to go out and find your own sponsors. You had to get this funded. You had to get this on PBS. This was all self-made, which is incredible, Chet.
Well, thank you, but like I had a team right off the bat of people who believed in it too, and so like literally, I can't take all the credit. I had folks that truly the first season worked for barbecue, because they believed in it. We made our whole first season for about 12 grand, which is just barely enough to put gas in the car. Luckily I had some chops editing. I had some wonderful people around me, and PBS was like, it was nuts. Is it PBS like, this guy ever made a show? Nope. Oh, that's fine. Here, we'll put him on TV. And they've been an amazing partner because it's just sort of like, and also people like you who actually like watch the show. If no one was watching it, we'd been done a long time ago. So I feel like it's bigger than just me. And when I get credit as being the day tripper because I'm the guy shoving my face with barbecue, like it just feels like, well, I'm a tiny cog in this wheel, man.
Sure.
I'm a tiny wheel in the machine, rather.
Yeah, and you give your staff a lot of love on screen as well during the show. So for those of you who watch it, you know that you've seen everyone in front of the camera as well, which is beautiful because a lot of shows don't do that. Okay, let's set up our perfect spring day trip from the city of Houston. The plan is a listener will leave around 8 a.m.
Okay.
and out on the road the whole day, be back by 9 p.m. All right, so what do you got for me? What's the perfect spring day trip for Houstonians?
Oh man. Okay. So I'm gonna take a little curveball here, and maybe this is driven by nostalgia, but again, a town that no one ever wants to visit, but I think everybody should. We're gonna go to Port Arthur, Texas, baby. Port Arthur. So people might have gone to Beaumont. Beaumont's got lots of stuff, but Port Arthur is like you're cruising I-10, so it's east of Houston. It's going to take about an hour and a half to get there or so. But if people are ever driving to Florida from Houston, going east, they don't go through Port Arthur because you got to take this dog leg to the right and head down into the swamps. And so people just don't see it. But let me give you some reasons why you should. So Port Arthur it's an anomaly in the tapestry of Texas because it's where Texas and Louisiana overlap. So you go down there, you might as well be in Louisiana, but you're still on the Texas side of things. Phenomenal people. I mean, this is where all the Boudreaux and the Thibodeaux and the Ledoux and the Leroux, this is where all the Cajuns, the real Cajuns live. And so I grew up there. That's where I graduated high school. So it's the wonderful people. But they just, it's a different sort of place because you really are down there in the swamps, the oil industry, the refineries, but the food, the people. And so here you go. It's going to take you about an hour and a half to get there. You got to stop along the way. There's a Buc-ee's in Baytown. So load up on some Buc-ee's. There's a good halfway point. All right. And then keep cruising because once you're out of Baytown, you'll see nothing but rice fields and crawdad fields for the next hour. Port Arthur's cool because it's got this old city that is, I mean, almost completely empty. It's like it had its heyday, a big heyday, but that's all kind of past it. But you got this old downtown that feels like an old cast iron skillet, right? It's got all this flavor and style. Down there, this is super fun for people who've never done it. Go to the grocery store, get some turkey necks and some string, and then head to Searim State Park. So this is right on the coast. There's a state park right there, and you're going to go crabbing with those turkey necks. Have you ever gone crabbing?
I have not gone crabbing.
Oh, crabbing's the best.
That's one thing I do want to do. Yeah.
It's so much fun. So Searim State Park is on the coast. If it's a beautiful spring day, kick off your shoes, go splash around in the water. But then it backs up to sort of the marsh. And they've got awesome boardwalks to walk through the marsh on. And if you're lucky, this is the springtime, the alligators are going to be coming out and sort of sunning everywhere. And I mean, You ever been within a couple feet of a wild alligator?
Oh yeah, that's one of my
Yeah,
favorite things.
it's amazing.
I go to
Yeah,
Brazos Bend State Park here in my backyard all the time just to see the alligators and just to be close
dude,
to them to appreciate that we have dinosaurs on the planet still.
dude, no lie, they are truly dinosaurs, man. And we grew up going and feeding the alligators in the backs of these bayous. And it was crazy, like when you're an adult, like what were we really walking on those old rickety like docks, feeding hush puppies to alligators? Like did my parents not love me? I could have died at any moment. And then the next morning we would go out and water ski in the same bayous.
Oh my gosh.
It was not, I don't know. Like you look back on things like that's just what you did in Southeast Texas. And so Seagram State Park is a great place. Like walk the boardwalk, look at the living dinosaurs, do a little crabbing, go to the beach. It's just a different world down there,
Yeah.
it is beautiful. There's a certain kind of beauty to it. And this is something, if you want to make it more than a day trip, this is the only place in Texas you can do this. Texas Parks and Wildlife has a platform that's about 4 feet up off of the water that is out in the middle of a marsh. And so you get a sleeping bag and a kayak, and you kayak to this platform and you spend the night in the middle of the marsh on this tiny little floating dock.
What?
Surrounded by all the alligators. It's 4 foot high because that way an alligator can't jump up onto it.
Okay, 4 feet's not that high though.
Not that high. No, it's not. But Google this. This is on my Texas bucket list for sure. Like just I've heard like bring the mosquito spray.
Oh,
but
for sure.
Everyone I know who's done it has said like it's a crazy experience.
Now, can you put up a tent on this little dock, or it has to be flat?
If you had like a little pup tent, you could. I don't know if you could do like a big dome tent or anything, but because it's got this like spire in the middle of it, and the outside, kind of the rim around it, is where you sit and stuff.
Whoa!
So look that one up. It's crazy. It's crazy. Here we go. Then downtown Port Arthur is one of I think the best hidden gem museums in the state. It's called Museum of the Gulf Coast. Port Arthur, for those that don't know, is the hometown of Janis Joplin. They got a lot of stuff in the museum that you can see about her. They have, some of her costumes, her records. This area of Texas has produced like an insane amount of musicians. So the Big Bopper, ZZ Top's got big ties to Southeast Texas. And so this museum is full of all kinds of music nerd stuff. And then athletics. I mean, Jimmy Johnson graduated with Janis Joplin. So Cowboys coach, right? Jamal Charles is from there. Wade Phillips, Bum Phillips. So you go through the museum. If you're a sports nerd, all kinds of memorabilia from some of the heyday from these guys. I don't know if it's a real Vince Lombardi trophy, like your Super Bowl trophy, but they have a trophy there. I'm like, how in the heck I think it's real.
We're going to say it's real.
Bum Phillips, had one laying around, and when he passed, he donated to the museum or something. I don't know. So pretty awesome.
Bun B as well, by the way, the musicians, that list. So I know Bun B is now like known as Houston, but originally from Port Arthur as well.
Port Arthur, there we go. Yeah. That's right. All right, so you got your outdoors with some alligators. You got a little bit of culture. When I was there, I kind of regret not buying it, but if you made a $50 donation to the museum, you got a brick from Janis Joplin's house.
What?
They got torn down. So it was her childhood home, and I guess it got torn down at some point. So they had this big pile of bricks sitting out there. They're like, yeah, with a donation, you get a brick.
How did you not buy that? That's like the most Chet thing ever.
It totally is. To this day, I regret not buying that. I don't know why I need a brick from Janis Joplin's house, but, if you got the opportunity, why not? Okay, now let's talk about food. Have you ever had barbecue crabs?
Barbecue crabs? No, I can't say that I have.
Okay, barbecued crabs. I grew up eating them, and when I moved away for college at UT, I started asking around like I wanted to eat barbecue crabs, and no one had any clue what I was talking about. Like, Chet, we don't barbecue crabs, we barbecue beef.
Yeah.
Like what? So they're not barbecued at all in the sense of like we think about barbecue. They're deep fried, but they put on a zesty seasoning that kind of tastes like a barbecue potato chip. And so they get battered, fried blue crabs, shell on, and the only place you can eat barbecue crabs in Texas is Jefferson County. They don't exist. I've done all the research. They don't exist outside of Jefferson County. There was a place in Houston doing them, but they stopped. There was a place in Galveston doing them, but they stopped. But in Houston, you eat them by it's like a crawfish boil. Yeah. So they barbecue these crabs. They come out in platters that are stacked a couple feet tall. No, maybe not that tall. That's kind of tall. But like over a foot of this mound of crabs, and you get a cold beer, a couple cracking utensils, and you just go to town with buddies, cracking and eating barbecue crabs. And of course, the shell's on, so you're not like eating the fry, but it gets all over your fingers. So as you're pulling the meat out, it's sort of like, it's like crawfish. It's just kind of like
it all
the
blends
meat
together.
is seasoning, but it's all sort of mixed up together,
Okay, barbecued crabs.
Barbecue crabs.
From where?
Jefferson County. The county is the place to get it, but the Schooner would be like the most consistent place to get barbecue crabs, and they're amazing. And then, in Cajun tradition, boudin. And you can get boudin in Houston. I assume you've had boudin?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah, everywhere. But there's this, maybe the most famous boudin place in that whole part of Texas called the Boudin Hut, and it is a dive.
Yes.
A dive. But they make, 1,000 pounds of boudin a day or something like that. And that's a great, great spot to get boudin. For those that don't know, boudin is like sausage made up of rice. So it's like dirty rice stuffed in a sausage casing. It's awesome. And then, if you're going to get back at 9 p.m., maybe bump the day back a little bit, you can do it a little later and go to Larry's French Market, do a little Cajun dancing.
Okay. That's
what I would say. A little Zydeco. Larry's French Market is it's an institution down there, man. It's got like a Cajun buffet, a little grocery store. Sort of started as a grocery store, and then they added like a buffet line. Dude, it's going to be a good time. You do a little Cajun two-stepping.
You know what I love about this road trip? This encompasses everyone, so no excuses. There's going to be a huge boom in Port Arthur now.
I'm sure. I'll call him and tell him to get ready.
The CityCast listeners are coming.
Another thing to mention, there's some amazing Vietnamese food down there. Just incredible Asian fusion type food. It just doesn't get the love it deserves. So people need to go there. And then chicken fried steaks and barbecue aplenty everywhere. But it needs a little bit of love. So hopefully it does boom.
You've sold me, man. I will be making that day trip, and I hope our listeners will be as well. Chet, we appreciate you giving us this awesome recommendation. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to see all of your success and continued success. Season 14 coming to PBS pretty soon, right?
On the road. It'll be out in October. We'll be filming all summer. Might even have a Houston episode in the works. Ooh. So get ready.
I can't wait. Chet, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Raheel.
That was Chet Garner, the host of the award-winning show, The Daytripper on PBS. You can watch all of his episodes on his website, thedaytripper.com. Okay, while you're on that road trip, you're probably going to notice some paper tags on cars. And one day, hopefully, they're all gone because there's a new bill in legislation right now that will get rid of paper tags and give new car owners their permanent plates from the start. Temporary paper plate fraud has been pretty high, and this bill is supposed to help cut that down. But even if passed, the new system won't go into effect until 2025. That will do it for me. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something new. And in the words of Chet Garner, vaya con Dios, amigos.
How do you feel about this? Girl Scout Thin Mints, Raheel, frozen or room temp?
Frozen. There's no other option.
I disagree completely.
I need a nice cooling sensation with my mint.
All right.